and welcome to my knitting vlog. My name is Annika and I'm a knitwear designer and knitter from Finland. So it's been a while since my last episode and I remember I was talking about the pattern pricing thing and I got some lovely comments and it seems that people of course have different opinions, how much is enough, how much is too much, or how much is too little. But anyhow, I'm not gonna get into that right now. You can go and watch that. What I wanted to tell you is that the kilo hat pattern and cowl as well are now up on Ravelry, and there's a discount until Friday this week. Today is Tuesday. Yes, I'm a bit confused still after the Christmas holidays what day it is. But yes, it is Tuesday. So these are quick knits, rather simple color works. I showcased these in one of my previous episodes. You can go and check them out. I won't talk about this too much. But maybe since it's New Year's, I would like to say a few words about New Year's resolutions, if I have any. Usually I don't, but because I tend not to keep them, as to my understanding most people don't. So it annoys me that I don't keep them, so I'd rather not promise anything, even to myself, that I'm not intending to keep. So the thing is, what I wanted to say about knitting though is that I would really want to finish patterns, like writing the patterns, getting them into tech editing, getting them into testing. That has been hanging around some for years. In my first few episodes I showed you a few sweaters that I still don't have a pattern finalized. So those are coming up hopefully soon. And talking about that, I'll just throw away my beanie and hat. I have one pattern that I just called out for test knitters. It's a sweater. It's an all colorwork sweater. I'm not sure if I can actually fit this into the screen, hopefully. But yeah, like I said, it is an all colorwork sweater knitted from Sandnes Garn Koos. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's called Kos. The yarn is a mixture of alpaca, wool and nylon. And yes, I'm not a huge fan of nylon, but at that time they didn't make the poppy yet, which is a cotton and alpaca blend, sort of a similar blown yarn. So I knit the sweater, it's called the Wild One, in Koos, and I made this already, wait a minute, was it a year ago? Or 2 years ago? Jesus, time flies fast when you're having fun, right? Anyhow, well, I haven't done this during the Christmas holidays. Let's put it that way. Can't speak English again. Never mind. So I'm looking for test knitters for this sweater. It comes in 9 sizes. This option doesn't have any short rows. It means the front and back are exactly the same, but the pattern also includes a version where you don't have the double folded neckline and you have short rows. So if short rows is your cup of tea, then go for that option. What else can I say about this? Of course, if you want to test knit it, you should be able to knit color work in the round and follow charts. Everything is charted, but you should also be able to think for yourself a bit, because I haven't charted the sleeve decreases for each size. I think that's overkill. And I do understand that that might put off some knitters, but I think it is a skill that maybe it's useful, not just in color work, but everything else as well. So yeah, what else? Tubular bind off. The short row version has tubular cast on. Yes, you can of course skip those. It's simple to modify it for a long tail cast on. What else should I mention about this sweater? First of all, as you can see, it's beige and lilac. Well, I knit this in a period when I was trying to fit in with the crowd where people were knitting beige things. And I thought that, well, maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll knit something up in beige and see if I would actually like it. The thing is, I love the sweater. This doesn't look too bad on me, but it doesn't look too great either. That can be debatable, of course. And I've worn this actually already when I went swimming during the colder days. Well, not in the winter, but in the fall. It's actually nice to wear because it's a bit loose. I mean, it has 5 to 10 centimeters depending on your chest circumference of positive ease. The sleeves, of course, don't have that much positive ease. Of course. Is that obvious for you guys? I mean, I don't know if it's obvious to you that if you have 5 to 10 centimeters or even more positive ease at the bust circumference, then usually you don't have that much on the sleeves. That would just look very funny. And especially if you have those boxy kind of sweaters with 20 centimeters of ease per bust, then 20 centimeters, that's like 10 centimeters per sleeve. That would be quite a lot of positive ease. So they're graded differently, let's put it that way. Oh, the pattern has been tech edited, but since we are all humans, there might still be some errors in it. If you want to knit this, there's a Google form. I will put it down below and you can sign up there. I recommend to use a similar type of yarn, something like Isagir Soft. It used to be called Eco Soft. Maybe Camaro Snefnug would be a good option. Katja Concept Cotton Merino. In the sign up form I do give the yarn substitution, suggestions. I'm not sure, this is such a lightweight sweater, if this would actually work knitting up a DK weight yarn with a silk mohair. That might give you a more dense fabric. But yeah, I do like the design. I wanted to see if I can actually pull off a leopard print in a yoke sweater. I've seen leopard print sweaters, but they are raglan. Of course, I didn't want to design the same thing. So I went for the full yoke. I had help with the grading, thankfully. And yeah, it's actually a rather fast knit, but you have to pay attention. I can't remember the needle sizes. Was it 4 and 4.5 maybe? Again, I have to mention that I knit very loosely. So pick a needle size that gets you the gauge. I think it's 19 stitches per 22 rounds, something like that. Everything is, like I said, in the test knit call form, Google form. Yes, so now I'm tempted to knit another one in colors that I actually prefer. Oh, also another thing, they discontinued this Lila in the meantime while I was waiting to get this into test knitting. So that's also a good reminder why not to wait forever to start test knitting, because they might discontinue the colorways. So that's kind of crap. So yeah, I wonder if I will knit another one. I have plenty of other things to knit and I have some deadlines that I need to meet, so we'll see. I did ask around on Instagram which colors should I choose, and there were some nice options, but probably I'll go for a similar sort of muted colorways, maybe just in white and light gray. That would be sort of a classic. But yes, I'll show you again. I love this sweater otherwise than color-wise. So in the pattern, the sleeves are 45 centimeters long, but they're adjustable, so you can adjust that to your liking. Also the body length. Of course, that means that you either need to buy more or less yarn. Yeah, so once I finished the sweater, I still had some yarn left because I noticed that occasionally I tend to buy a bit too much because I'm not 100% sure how much will I use up, especially with a yarn that I haven't used before for a sweater. So I had more of it left and I made a hat, actually 2 hats. I gifted already one to my mom. This is the prototype, the second prototype of the Wild One beanie. It has a triple folded edge, but it has a few issues. I think it's just way too long. I know some people like, I'll put it on. Sorry if the microphone scratches. See, I have my ponytail here and it looks like this. I have no idea how I look because I can't see myself. Yeah, some people like this look. I personally hate it. I don't know why. It's just, I think it looks ridiculous. I prefer the fitted beanies, so maybe I'll knit something like that and then I will call for test knitters. This is, yeah, I haven't finalized the pattern for this one, so that's not up for test knit yet. Okay, so like I mentioned, I want to go back to things that I've knitted already and sort of halfway wrote up the pattern and finalize them and then put them out this year. Why? Because I realized that I have probably at least 10 designs that hasn't, been moving forward. And I made a bit of a, I don't know what's it called in English actually. Well, okay. I went on Ravelry and I took a look at what other designers, put out last year. I mean, how many patterns? I didn't really check what they looked like, but just try to calculate. And can you guess how the most popular designers, how many patterns they put out per year? Well, it's about 50 patterns. That means 1 pattern per week. And most of them are sweaters. Some of them are accessories or smaller things, but still, that's a huge amount of patterns. I am not 100% sure what to think about that, but that's a massive amount of knitting, a massive amount of test knitting, tech editing, and just a massive amount of work, frankly speaking. So I gathered that in order to stay current, that's what I should do. And I have an issue with that because it, how to put it, it feels a bit fast fashion to me, although it's knitting. So I'm struggling with that. And I don't know if I can actually do that because it's just, it's just me. Nobody is knitting for me. At the moment, I can't afford to pay anyone to knit for me. I decided to go with a tech editor for this pattern, and probably I will do that for my sweaters, but I can't afford to do that for my accessories. So yeah, it's I know people don't like to talk about money. I mean, if you if you check out my latest video about pattern pricing, it has like less than 1,000 views, which is okay-ish, but it's really not much compared to some other ones that I put out that I don't think that are better or worse. So I kind of, maybe it's a misinterpretation, but I thought that, well, maybe it's because people are not interested in thinking about money, which is kind of funny. But I do understand because I used to be like that maybe 20 years ago. I somehow talking about money and thinking about money just made me mad. And this is not a lecture about money and how to do finances, especially yours. There are plenty of YouTubers probably giving better advice than I am. But anyhow, back to releasing patterns. So that's 50 patterns per year. Even if you're sort of copying yourself, that's still a lot. I mean, it's just, yeah. And I'm sort of thinking about it, or trying to think about it as a challenge, if I can actually do that. And one way to do that is trying to get rid of it's sort of a backlog that I have, and finalizing patterns and getting them out there in the world. So that is my New Year's resolution, besides hopefully not buying too much yarn because I have plenty already. And about buying yarn, I did buy one skein. Or is it the ball? I think it's a ball. I bought one ball of sock yarn. I went to visit my mom, and they sell Regia 4-ply in their local sort of supermarket, but it's not a grocery store. It's another type of supermarket. Anyhow, I just like this sort of fuchsia colorway, and probably this will become basic socks. Yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, is 50 patterns too much, too little? I don't know. Time will tell, and I'm not sure if I can actually keep up with that. I mean, January might be okay. I have 2 hat patterns and 2 cowl patterns coming out. Maybe I should mention that the deadline for the test knit for the Wild One sweater is March 6th. It's a bit flexible, so if you have issues and you don't want to sign up because you think it's too tight, just let me know. I don't bite your head off. And you just need to knit one sleeve and the body up to some point. I mean, it's the same colorwork pattern. It repeats, I think, somewhere here. Anyhow, yeah, I have I can't really say a hard time understanding how fast people knit or how much they knit, but occasionally I tend to not realize that other people have lives, that they don't knit all the time when they sit. Well, I'm not knitting here right now, so I'm not knitting all the time either. But and I don't think that I'm a very fast knitter. I just knit a lot. I do tend to knit most of the time. Yeah, I've seen fast knitters, I mean way faster than me. It's not a competition, but then it means that sometimes I don't understand with test knits that people need more time. It's not just the knitting, it's also about, you know, some people might need to order yarn, so that could take anything from, if you order sort of locally, I mean from Finland, then it might take 1 to 2 days. If you have to order from somewhere else, then it might take a week or even more. Oh, I had a fun experience last summer. I ordered something from Dererum Natura, and it was during the Paris Olympics, and the package got lost. So they resent me the package. It was very kind of them. And then finally, I think this was it in August? Can't remember when were the Olympics. Anyhow, and finally the first package arrived in October. I have no idea where it went. Nobody did. So that was funny. I mean, that was the first time yarn went missing. But yeah, I think that's a funny story. Anyhow, yeah. So that's pretty much my 2 New Year's resolutions, and probably I shouldn't have said them aloud because then I'm not gonna keep them. Well, let's hope for the best. So yeah, today is actually a nice day, or it turned out to be a nice day. It looks so gray. I'm talking about the weather. Yes, I finally managed to go snowboarding last week Friday for an hour or 1.5. I fell not on my ass. I sort of hugged the slope, but it was okay. I went to the local ski slope, which is very close, like 20 minutes that way. I put on the board. I went to the kiddie slope part. I came down once, and then I thought that, okay, well, I think this is too easy. So then I went to the bigger slope and I tried to learn to carve. And like I said probably in my previous video, it's very difficult. So I did take a tumble. at one point because I didn't shift my weight with the turn. But yeah, that's about snowboarding. And yeah, about the weather, now it's melting again. This whole week it will be melting. I mean, it will be plus degrees, and it's the warmest in the past 10 years, I think, and they're also saying that it might be the warmest in the last 30 years. So that's quite warm, but I'm still an optimist about the weather. Hopefully I get to go snowboarding a lot more. Yes, there is still snow on the slopes, but it's different when it's melting. And of course, if it's melting, then if the weather gets colder, then it will freeze. And ice is not such a fun thing to have on the slopes or on the streets. Anyhow, this might be just a shorter episode. Oh, one thing. I'll be putting out also the Halla beanie or hat and the cowl the end of this week. And I don't think that I will show them in my next episode. So, if you're interested in knitting matching hats and cowls, keep an eye out for these as well. You can follow me also on Instagram. You can buy me a coffee or on Ko-fi. And that's about it, I think, for today. Since the sun is finally shining, I'll probably go for a little walk. I'm very tempted to go to my local yarn shop and get some white cows to knit up the beanie, or maybe even the sweater. But I'm trying to guide my thoughts elsewhere and do something else instead. So yeah, that's about that for today. And yeah, just for a thought, the funny thing is, I can see when people drop off from watching my episodes, and it's around 10 to 12 minutes, which is fine. And probably it would be wise to say the most important part in the beginning, sort of to hook people. Yeah, of course, that's basic storytelling, but sometimes I don't really have sort of a thread going through this, and I'm just improvising. But what I really wanted to say, and if you stick around until the end, is what I learned from the sweater has nothing to do with knitting, actually. It has to do with knowing what you like and sort of sticking to it. I don't mean that you are not allowed to change your mind, but I sort of knew when I bought this beige yarn and beige lila yarn combo, that I probably won't like it much, but I still wanted to knit it up and to see if I'm mistaken that I might actually end up liking the color combination. But the main reason to choose these in the first place was probably, like I said, is because I wanted to fit in that beige knitting crowd. And the end result was that I probably, when I try too hard, it just feels artificial. So I end up anyhow sort of self-fulfilling this prophecy of not fitting in no matter how hard I try. So why do I do that? I mean, it's sort of silly. I'm 46. Yeah. So I should know better by now. And maybe that is also one of my New Year's resolutions, is to know what I like, knit what I like, and to stay true to myself. And like I said, I can change my mind. That's allowed. But if I have the instinct that tells me that you will not like beige, then just go for something else. I mean, the world is full of other colors. And I do understand that beige is a safety color for for many people, but not for me. For me, that's gray, probably, or black. Yeah, as you can see. Anyway, until next time, I hope you think a bit about your New Year's resolutions if you haven't done so, and I would love to hear your comments below. Please, this is what all the YouTubers say, or most of them, subscribe and like and watch till the end. Maybe I should have said this already in the beginning. Yeah, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye!